Welcome back, everybody. Man, look, I apologize for this delayed. Just family things going on, and unfortunately, this is the best time for me to give you guys this new episode. I know I got to be a little bit more consistent, with you guys, and making sure that I give you guys a great episode, you know, moving forward consistently. But I'm gonna make this one short and sweet. I just want to be able to tap in with you guys. Forgive me, I live by an airport over here. Because as you can see, I'm not in my studio right now, but I'm gonna make this video short and sweet, and I'm just gonna get right to the point. I thought that was a tough football game we played, and depending on what side of the spectrum you're on, as far as whether you're an offensive guy or you're a defensive guy or whatever, you're gonna kind of view the game this past Sunday against Seattle, kind of with a different set of lenses, and for, for me, I'm both. I love a back and forth football game, even though it can stress you out because your defense may be giving up too many points or whatever. I also love a defensive game, even though your offense is not moving the football well. And this past Sunday against Seattle was kind of that latter part, right? It was a really tough defensive football game by both defenses, both our defense and Seattle's defense. And let me tell you that Seattle team came to play, and they came ready to play. And again, I'm not one of these guys that just discredits another team because they're in the same division that we're in, or because they're a rival, or just you don't like the football team or whatever. At some point, again, I'm not one of these trash talkers that just starts running his mouth, bumping his gums, flapping his mouth, just spewing out things just for some sort of attention, just for some sort of reaction. That's not how I work. That's not how I'm built. But I thought that was a great defensive football game by both defenses. Offensively, obviously, like I said, depending on what side you lean on, we didn't really do much offensively. We did score some touchdowns, but we also did leave a lot of points on the board, and it was quite a few. And especially when you have four turnovers, right? Didn't capitalize off of those turnovers the way we should have. Again, do we take away from what the Ram? Do we as Rams fans, do we say, oh, it was more about what we didn't do rather than what Seattle did on defense? I mean, you can say a little bit of both, right? You can honestly say, well, Seattle's defense played well, but this is what we should have did better. And for the most part, Seattle's defense is probably the reason why we didn't do those things, or we didn't execute those things a lot better than we normally have, especially the way we did the previous 5 weeks. Capitalizing off of turnovers and scoring in the red zone at will. Again, this is why you got to shout out Seattle's defense. They came to play. And I thought that was a very tough game, and I thought it was a very gritty game, which will prepare us a lot more for the playoffs. If we see Seattle again, if we see San Francisco again, if we see Philadelphia again, or if we see Detroit for a second time because we see them later on this year, or if we see Tampa Bay again because we see them this coming week. These games that we play, it's just going to show that we can win in different ways. We need to be able to win in different ways. And this past weekend, it showed we won it in a different way. And it wasn't just offensively. Did Stafford and the offense and the rest of the offense light up the scoreboard and a bunch of yardage? No, we didn't do that. Did we do enough just to win? Yeah. Will some people say we deserve the win? No, but that's normal. This is the NFL, and unfortunately, now everybody's gonna like the fact that you won and they lost, and they're gonna find reasons why they lost and why the Rams won, and you hear it all the time: Rams versus refs, and we do that all the time, and as Rams fans, we know that's like, we already know what that's like. We already know. So we got a very tough game coming up this week as well, this Sunday night against Tampa Bay. And Baker Mayfield makes it back to SoFi for the first time since he threw that that game winner against the Raiders in 2022. And we're talking about a guy in Baker Mayfield that's just been balling out of control since he showed up in Tampa, and a lot of it goes to Sean McVay, the Rams, and the offense, and this organization, and the way it was able to help him revive his career, and it shows, because we saw what he was like in Cleveland, not his fault. We saw what he was like in Carolina, not his fault. But when you're stuck in situations like that, right? When you're stuck around dysfunctional organizations like that, i.e., look at Sam Darnold, for all the things people want to say about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold last year did lead that Vikings team to a possible position to win the NFC and be the number one seed. And I've had this argument with other people last year in regards to Sam Darnold. Well, Kirk Cousins had the same team, had the same coaching staff, and never had the team looking like they looked last year. Look at what Minnesota looks like now without Sam Darnold. Look at what Seattle looks like with him. When you put, again, you're a Rams fan, and you should know this by now. We see this. We saw it with Matthew Stafford, and we saw what he was like in Detroit when the team was just dysfunctional. No head coaching, no real front office moves, nothing, and basically wasted his entire career in Detroit. Meanwhile, some of us who are real football fans know what he's doing out there. Anyways, let me circle back to Baker Mayfield. We know what those situations were like for him in Cleveland. We know what that situation was like with him in Carolina. And then he lands in LA, in a situation where he's got a great head coach. The team just came off of winning a Super Bowl, right? But the team is completely riddled with nothing but injuries, right? From Stafford to Kupp to Aaron Donald, to just you name it, you name them, everybody was hurt. And literally picking guys off the street. Baker Mayfield was the fourth Rams starting quarterback the entire season. So him joining LA helped him reviving his career, and then moving on to bigger and better places in Tampa Bay, where he eventually got the extension that he was warranted, you know what I mean, because of the way he played. But that's what we got coming up. And that's a quarterback we can't take, because we've seen that, and we saw what he did with us to the Raiders at SoFi. So I know Chris Shula's going to have this defense ready. I know Sean McVay is going to have this team ready to play Sunday night. I'll be locked in, loaded, and ready to watch this football game, and ready to just go crazy once we win. And hopefully we can, hopefully we can get this win and go 9-2 for the season, and then just keep rolling. You know what I mean? Again, I apologize to all you guys that have been strong supporters. I need to be a little bit more consistent when giving you guys product, and giving you guys something to watch, something to view, keep giving you guys something, you know what I mean? I need to be a little bit more consistent with this, and I'll be a lot better moving forward. So with that being said, shout out to all my Rams fans out there. Let's keep this train moving. If you're a Rams season ticket holder, stop selling your tickets, man, and start showing up to these football games, or sell them to actual Rams fans that are going to show up to these football games, because we need more Rams fans at SoFi. You know what I mean? And to all you that are Rams haters, you know what you can do. Until then, horns up.